Merry Christmas and welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted to be introducing our guests today. They're all about Christmas and Christmas music. We're going to dive deep into the inspiration behind some of this music and what has inspired them along their path. Our first singer is Abigail Sloane, and she's here today to talk to us about her new release album, Reason and Rhyme. Now, Abigail is a Christian music newcomer, and her album is just hitting the charts. I'm so glad she's spending Christmas with us here today. So let's welcome to the show, Abigail.
Hi, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you too, Abigail. Oh my gosh, what a more perfect day to have you on the show than today. I mean, my goodness.
I'm so excited.
Well, yeah, we love spending Christmas, especially with great singers. And so you're a Christian music newcomer, and you are all about just bringing in, reason and rhyme into your music, which is your album, by the way. So why don't we start off with a little bit so that people get to know you a little bit about your journey? Why don't you share with us, what inspired you to start singing?
Oh, my goodness. Well, the only thing I can think is the Lord, number one, because I started singing at a very young age. I actually was humming before I could speak. And so music was always kind of my thing. And it just kind of grew from there. My mom tells this story of when she was pregnant with me, my dad used to sing to me while I was in my mom's belly, and they used to play worship music. And so I was just born into it, really. But my dad and I used to sing in the car, and, my mom and I used to rock out to old school Stephen Curtis Chapman music. And from there, it just kind of grew. And I started singing in choirs and solo performances, and any chance I got, really, I was singing. But music has always been a part of my life, always.
Well, and so a lot of times I know people, when they have a certain level of giftedness, they'll use that during difficult times of their lives. Have you had some difficult times?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Yeah, I actually, Reason and Rhyme came out of probably one of the darker seasons of my life. The song Reason and Rhyme itself is about having to go through a hard time where you don't see a way out. And at the time, I was struggling really bad with depression. And I was like, Lord, I don't see the plan, and I don't see you, and I don't see what you're doing. And so I'm about to call it quits if you don't show up. And the end of the song is God showing up and saying, here I am, here I come. I'm here to save you, and I'm here to show you that, that what you're going through, I'm bigger than what you're facing right now. And I think that's what Reason and Rhyme, I think the whole album really is about that, but especially Reason and Rhyme shares that message.
Yeah, you bring that in. Well, and so you talked about it a little bit, some of your struggles. And so I know you really battled with depression, and so many people are going through that right now. It's such a journey for a lot of people. In fact, I think I saw a report not long ago, a study that said that millennials are the most depressed generation that we've ever had, which is so sad. And so,
it is.
Why don't you share a little bit about that with us, like how that journey was for you?
For me, it was honestly one day at a time. I remember that when I was struggling with it, it was a struggle to just get up in the morning and go about the day and work through that. It was very, very difficult. And the thing I think that I had to come to the conclusion was I can't fight this on my own. I can't do this on my own. There's no way that I'll make it if I try to defeat this on my own. I need somebody that's bigger than me. And for me, that was Jesus Christ. That was his love and his unconditional patience with me. And definitely through those times, my parents were very, 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 loving and understanding. And I feel like most of the time, isolation is the biggest enemy that anybody struggling with depression could face. Once we isolate ourselves and think that we're alone is probably when everything starts seeming just a little bit more dark. And I feel like, you know, the more people that come around, the more people that came around me in love and support, the easier it was to start seeing a way out of this, to start seeing a way out of the darkness, and finally just to be able to step into that light.
It's such a journey for people. It's always so encouraging to hear how different people go through tragedy and upset and just life challenges and then come out the other side.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So when you were bringing together, you know, you were saying that you know, most of your songs came from these difficult times. Why don't you share a little bit about some of them with us so we can kind of get an understanding of, like, what was the journey? You know, like, Enough, I think, is fabulous.
Oh, I love that one. You know what's great about that song? I wish that I could take credit for that one. I cannot. That one is a song that was written by Josh Ronlewy, Tony Wood, and Philippa Hanna, actually. And they, when they sent that song, I was like, can I please sing this song? I'd love to sing this song. Mm-hmm. But Enough, actually, when the first time I heard that song, I immediately connected with it because there have been so many times in my own life where I've had to realize that Jesus has to be enough for me, because if he's not enough for me, there's absolutely no meaning to any of this. And so when I first heard that song and we began the process of putting it on the album, it was just something that so came naturally to my heart that I think we did that song in like 3 or 4 takes. It wasn't long before we were like, this is the song. This is the recording we want to share, because it's just such a natural truth for my life, especially.
So what is, like, I mean, this would be kind of a difficult choice I'm going to present to you, you know, because it would be like almost choosing a favorite child. But what is your favorite song? You know?
Oh, man. Yeah, that one is hard. That one's very hard. One of my favorites off the project is Who Am I? I think that one is definitely up there. It's the newest one that I've written. I think I wrote that one about a year ago. And it was a song. It took me probably like a good solid day and a half. I mean, it came so quickly. I call it my identity revelation instead of my identity crisis, because it's so true. Who am I without the Lord, and where would I be without his love? Mm-hmm. But I think if you had to push me for that one, it'd probably be Who Am I?
Who Am I? It sounds so great. And, you know, and what a perfect album also to be celebrating on Christmas.
It's so true. I'm so happy.
Yeah, and that way you can bring more Christmas cheer, because, I mean, everyone, it's so great. Everyone may celebrate in different ways. You know, they may be with a family or a friend or maybe by themselves, and, you know, they can listen to your music and it brings them to a totally different place.
Mhm. And I honestly, that's my prayer with this whole project, is that, you know, no matter where somebody's at, I mean, they could be in the happiest season of their life, they could be in the darkest season of their life, but wherever they're at, they find something to hold on to in this music.
Yeah, and they're able to grab something and run with it. Now, so where do you see yourself going from here? Because, my gosh, I mean, you've been singing since probably before you were walking, right? So
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, you know, what's in store for you next?
As far as what's next, honestly, I'm not sure. It's one of those things that the Lord does with me. He knows that I'm probably the least patient person in the entire world, and so he only reveals a few steps here and there. And I'm very excited for the next season of life. I know that we're working on some really exciting things. I'm working with my producer and my publicist on some pretty exciting stuff coming for the new year. But as far as it goes, it's honestly one day at a time that the Lord just reveals these really fun, crazy adventures that he's got me going on. But,
I think a lot of people can relate to that, because, you know, it's kind of tough to sometimes know what we're going to do when, especially for a lot of people for working 9-to-5 jobs. It's, you get up, you go to work the next day, and sometimes it can kind of feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over again. So having some inspiration really puts you in a place where, life is looking a little different.
Yeah. And especially, I know the 9-to-5 grind very well. The Lord has blessed me exceedingly with a job that I absolutely love, so I have no complaints about it, but I completely understand the whole wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, to do it all over again. But I think what the great thing about that is we are in places that the Lord has placed us, and He gets to kind of control and tell us, what the next step is. And as stressful as it can seem sometimes, I think that's the best way to live life, is just in the hands of God.
Well, there's a lot to be said about faith, having faith. And when times get tough, I'm a big person for prayer. So, I mean, those two things are kind of, for me personally, has brought me through when I've had difficult times and challenges.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so you've got this amazing album out. Or do you have any concerts planned coming up, or that's to be announced next year because we've got all these exciting things happening?
Well, so far, not much in the live performance realm. I am doing a small performance on a radio station this week, actually. So I'm pretty excited about it, but it's very baby steps at this point. But yeah, I mean, that's not to say, if somebody doesn't want to have me out to do a concert, I'm more than ready to do that. But
that's always good too,
Yeah.
I mean, the New Year's right around the corner here, so exactly. If you don't have your New Year band and top singer, you might, for your organization, you might want to see about booking Abigail. Yeah. Well, and so, to kind of talk about, because we've talked about depression and people having to go through the grind, and today's a day of being in faith and being grateful. What are some of the things that you're grateful for?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, there's so much in my life to be grateful for. I just over the past couple of years, I struggled really bad, just kind of in the job that I was in and the certain things that came along with that. And when the Lord brought me out of that and I was able to get out of that situation, I think the Lord opened my eyes to everything around me, that no matter what was going on in and around me, there were so many things to be grateful for. Personally, I couldn't be more grateful for the family that the Lord has given me. And I know that sounds like a rote answer, but if you knew my family, I don't know, they're probably the greatest people on this earth, and they're so supportive and they're so loving. And the Lord has blessed me with a mom and dad that believe in me and that love each other and that have set this perfect example of what true love looks like. And my brother is just the greatest person alive. He's probably my best friend in the whole world. And, my extended family, my grandparents, my aunts and uncle, I've never felt so supported and so loved by a group of people. But not only that, but in my job, my boss is probably the most, I've never worked for somebody that pours into you and encourages you so much. Both him and his wife have just been so supportive in me pursuing my career and pursuing, education and everything. I honestly, I'm just so grateful for every aspect of my life right now. I can't think of one place where, I can't be grateful for something. Even in the hard times, honestly, I think some of the things I'm most grateful for are the lessons that I've learned over the past so many years, just, from understanding that hard times come, but the Lord is in control of it all. And I think I'm grateful for those moments as well.
Well, and those are such great things because, I mean, a lot of times, regardless what we're pursuing, whatever our dream is, having people who support and love us and are able to say, yeah, you go for it. It's okay. We'll make things work really helps so that you can, realize what your dream is meant to be. So it's such an interesting place to be in when you've got these great people who are helping and supporting you along the way.
Exactly. I think a support team is probably the biggest thing that anybody could have at any point in their lives. And I know that mine is just very powerful.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know for this holiday season, especially with some families that maybe all they have is that love and support of other family members. Maybe they're not having the kind of Christmas that they want to have or kind of struggling. It's good to hear this kind of a recording and this, your albums, so that they can go ahead and move forward in their life and know, do you know what? Abigail's done this, and she's blazed a trail. I can do it too.
I can only hope. I can only hope that my story inspires others to be able to brave the unknown.
Mm-hmm. And overcome a lot, because you've done that, and it really is a tribute to people being able to make it beyond, Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what other thoughts do you want to leave our listeners with today?
Well, mostly when it comes to, to my story and my life and what I've, faced and what I've achieved, I think one of the most important things to always keep in mind is keep your eyes focused on the Lord. And it sounds rote and it sounds cliched and it sounds like something that any Bible-believing person would say, but it's true. Because if you keep your eyes focused on the Lord, everything else kind of disappears around you. But you get to walk with Him hand in hand as He leads you through what He has planned for you. And as scary as sometimes it seems, and as hesitant as we want to feel about it, as long as we stay focused on who He is and who He's called us to be, there should be no fear and there should be no hesitation. And I think that's a lot of what the Lord is teaching me currently in my own life is we can't live life, white-knuckled, holding onto the steering wheel, trying to control the vehicle if the Lord wants to take us on some grand adventure and show us who He really is. And I think that gosh, if I could tell anybody anything, that would be it. Just live without hesitation. And I think that the further we go into Jesus and the further that we just let Him love us, I think the more that we'll be able to see of His true nature and how much He truly wants to give us.
And I think that provides a lot of hope and encouragement for people because, of course, today is all about hope and encouragement for all people, and so is your song. So I'm just so excited that we've been able to spend this time together. What other things would you like to share with us about your song before because that's about the last question I have time for.
Well, I hope you all like them as much as I do.
They're fabulous. I'll tell you that right now. I listen to them. They're all fabulous, and it really does put you in this feeling like, life is going to be better,
Yeah. These are my babies, and so to have them kind of wander off into the world somewhere is both stressful and exciting. But yeah, as long as people find hope in any of them, then I know that I've done even just a small part of what the Lord's called me to do, and that pleases me greatly.
Oh, well, Abigail, where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community and listen to your music? And, of course, buy it.
Well, I have a website, abigailsloanemusic.com, and I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I am on Twitter. I'm still trying to figure out how to use it, but I am there, I promise. But yeah, and then if on my website, it gives you all the links to iTunes and Spotify and anywhere that you want to listen to the music.
Well, and so if there's anyone out there that's maybe having a little bit of a downtime, maybe the holidays get you down, because I know sometimes, especially when we have loved ones that pass during the holidays, it can be extremely tough.
Oh, I completely understand that.
Yeah, and so they can download your song, a couple of your songs or the whole album, and really kind of, get their heart in a place where they know that it's going to be okay and tomorrow's a new day for them.
It's so true. It's so true.
Oh. Well, Abigail, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Abigail. My goodness, what a joy it is to spend that time with you. If you'd like to learn more about Abigail's music, you can visit AbigailSloaneMusic.com. That's Abigail, Sloane, music.com. You can learn more about her new released album, Reason and Rhyme. We're going to pause here for a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 1-2-3 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
Do you know that you can become a genius at any age? Do you know that you can change your life and create a brilliant life for yourself? Hi, I am Olympia LaPointe, an award-winning rocket scientist who you more than likely have seen on TED Talks, Impact Theory, and PBS. Check out my latest book, Answers Unleashed, The Science of Unleashing Your Brain's Power. Simply go to AnswersUnleashed.com books and check it out for yourself. You'll find the tools to help you create the life you've always wanted.
The highly acclaimed and newly released book, The Hand Part 2 by Lynn Van Praagh Grattan, describes the journey between a psychic medium and a family who lost a son. Messages from Beyond Eternity's Gate is of love and healing. For more information, visit www.lynnvanpraagh-grattan.com. That's www.lynnvanpraagh-grattan.com.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. So the second half of our Christmas special show today is spent with Mari Burrell, and she's here today to talk to us about the release of her new EP, Have Yourself a Mari Little Christmas. So let's welcome to the show, Mari.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Oh, it is such a joy to have you here. My goodness, and the release of your new EP, you've got to be very excited.
Oh, I am. This has been such a fun and fabulous project to work on.
Well, why don't we start for our listeners that are a little new in regards to hearing about you? Why don't you share with us a little bit about your story and how you got into music?
Great. Yes, I would love to. I have been singing since I was a little girl, like many people, but at the age of 9, I really started to pick up the piano that my grandfather, who was also adopted like me, would play on. So it's really uncanny that I learned on the same piano that he learned on, coming from two separate worlds, but he's been a major impact in my life. And he encouraged me to sing and to write and get close to God. And so that's when I really started to do everything. And I sang in the church throughout my whole life, but I did teeter off to sing into the world for a little while. I was a worship pastor for 12 years after that, and then I just started to be in the major music industry this past few years.
So you sing Christian and gospel and Latin music, right?
I do.
If you gravitate towards one, what is typically one of your favorites?
I mean, I'll always be like a worship leader at heart, but I really love people, and I feel like it's such a closed circuit to just say that I'm a Christian artist. I want my music and art and fashion just to touch the whole world. And, it's biblical. It says to be a Greek to the Greek and a Jew to the Jew. So I honestly try to just meet everyone where they're at without trying to specifically be titled something.
Mm-hmm. And that way you can go ahead and, I think it's so great to do that, because then people, regardless where they're at, can enjoy your music and enjoy the message you bring.
Exactly.
So when you started getting your new EP together, why don't you talk with us a little bit about that? What was the main inspiration behind that?
Oh, well, I mean, I love Christmas so much. First of all, we were working on our project coming out next year, which is a full-length Spanish and English album, one of each. But then I was like, you know what? I know we're so far beyond the mark, guys, and we're running really late, but I just really feel like we have to do Christmas. I love anything and everything Christmas. I've had my Christmas tree up. I would leave it up all year round if my husband would let me, but I've had it up since the end of August while I'm recording, just for inspiration, in my home in Tennessee and in New York. And we just got to work straight away. I honestly had even more songs, but we ended up only being able to do an EP because I preferred quality over quantity. So next year we'll finish it out.
And so the album you have next year, is it going to have a full 12 set of songs? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, it could have 12. It could have 20. You know how Spanish people roll. So,
hey, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, I love art, so it could be like a 30-second clip of just a little cordito, or it could be, a 5-minute long song where it's like think and you just keep going and going and going, because that's what we do.
That's hey, that's where all the fun is. My goodness, you got to do that. Well, and so. When you created Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, is that after the old classic and just a new take on it?
Well, as far as the title goes, I just thought it was just fabulous, like me. And so I had to make that because it was hilarious. But the songs, I took classic songs, but just put my own twist on them, because they've been done a million times before. But I really haven't heard too many Latino vibe ones that have great like beats behind them, and then also just like Spanglish, where people can feel like they're part of it, but not too Spanish where they're not understanding it either. So I didn't want people to be too far off the mark. So I feel like we've kind of got a nice healthy balance with that.
Hey, I know Spanglish pretty well. I probably have a PhD in that, But when it comes to straight up Spanish, sometimes it's like, ooh, that's a struggle. So it's nice to be able to have a song that incorporates them both,
Absolutely.
So I understand you were just in the Thanksgiving parade. How much fun was that?
Yes. And that was in Philly, and that's really, I mean, I did it last year. I love doing these parades. I mean, they're just gaudy as gaudy can be, and that's kind of my middle name. And I just love getting to see and meet all the people. But, yeah, it was definitely a rush to get everything done. But, I mean, I'm working with such an amazing team of producers. Shout out to Paul David and Gregatron, and just my manager, Greg Lucid, for always managing to get everything in order and done in time. So we honestly, yes, it was hard, but it was also fun in the process, and the product that came out after it is just incredible. I'm really happy with it.
Oh, that's always such a great thing. And I know you're very well known because you're always ready for the red carpet no matter what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I always tell everyone, if you're going to, Walmart, you want to wear a prom dress, go ahead. You got to go to the post office, you need post office wig. You need, to go to the school to pick up your child. If you feel like wearing your wedding dress, then go ahead. You be you and be fabulous, And
I think that's such a great message for people to just embrace where they're at, so it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. That's kind of really a personal journey.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a difference between pride and confidence, and I've learned those lessons by being crushed and humbled many a times, but you need to be confident and not insecure in who you are. And I just want to encourage everyone listening to just love yourself, love the skin you're in, love just everything about yourself, your personality, the way you speak, the way you talk, because we put each other down so many times, but we also put ourselves down way too many times, and we need to start to be a little bit more confident in who we are.
Mm-hmm. And so for the Christmas album that you made, was there anything special that kind of stood out to you that you really enjoyed in making that, the EP?
Yes, I just had fun in the studio, in particular with Paul David. I remember he just, and I really hope he does listen to this because it's hilarious, but I actually got a clip of it on social media. He puts his whole heart and soul into it, but he has no rhythm as far as dancing, but you can't tell that with the music. So one day...
you got to love that, right?
Yeah, and my assistant caught him on camera dancing to Feliz Navidad. You can't tell he produced it because he had all the Vanilla Boy moves possible. And we just had so much fun making it. It's for all ages, from the baby in the mother's womb until the oldest of old person. I mean, it's literally, it connects with all audiences.
Mm-hmm. So, New Year's right around the corner, and we've heard that you've already talked about how you're working on this new album. What else is in store for you?
Yeah, I'm really excited to put out this new album because that's going to create, some awesome tours to be able to go city to city and share my music, fashion, and health and just everything with everyone. Mm-hmm. But I'm really excited about this project because it has major anthems and ballads, and I feel like we haven't had that in a while in the industry. It's great to have all these hot beats with, one-liners and everything, but I'm excited to be able to share a message and kind of a movement, and so being able to do that this year is going to be great. And I also have a nonprofit that I started called Palooka Queen, which means wig queen. And I'll be shaving my head on national television, and just so that I can get the message across that for cancer patients, alopecia, people with image issues, that I'm just like them underneath. So during my show, there will be a moment where I take off my wig and I'll dedicate a song to them. And then the nonprofit will also donate to those that do not have wigs and would like to have one to feel a little bit more confident in themselves while they go through their walk or their struggle.
So why is this nonprofit very close to your heart?
It's so close to my heart because originally when I was young, I suffered a lot of physical abuse, emotionally and physically, from my biological mother. She would beat me to almost a bloody pulp, and then she would call me fat, ugly. She actually tied my hair to bunk beds and left me there hanging at one point, and she would brush my hair so hard. So I had such image issues myself. Plus my adopted mother suffers with alopecia, and I know numerous cancer patients. And so I was wearing wigs mostly to cover it up out of insecurity before, but now I do it for fashion. But then I also was like, you know what? There's a lot of nonprofits that are helping people, especially children, but there's no one really focused on this. So let me do something that's near and dear to my heart, but that I know that it will affect a lot of people's lives, male and females, of all ages. So that's how I came up with Palooka Queen, that everyone's a queen, and you can wear a wig, whether it's for fashion or you can wear it because you're suffering through this journey, but you're not alone.
What a brave message, and gosh, we're going to be cheering you on when you are going through that whole process and shaving your head on live TV. And it's such it just really is such a testament, because a lot of people don't think about how it feels, and we all know somebody that's been affected by cancer, and most people don't think about how it feels when you're going through that process and you're losing all of your hair, and then it really takes a toll on a person.
It really does, and it's painful physically already for them, and then the emotional journey. If we could help them with that, at least, there's going to be a song on my upcoming album, "With You," and so. I'm not the most religious person. I do believe in the Lord and I love Him, but I don't shove it down people's throats. So this song is actually, I don't have an answer, but I'm here with you. And that's kind of what this project and what this nonprofit is that I'm here with you. Hey, listen, I'll shave my head with you. I'll wear the wig with you, whatever it takes. I'm just with you. I may not have the cure for cancer. I can pray for you, but I'll hold your hand through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes that's all that people want, is to be heard and to be able to have someone pray for them and hold their hand while they're going through this process.
Yes, exactly. And so I want to try to be that voice and just, there's nothing more authentic than someone actually just doing that with you. So I think that's something that's special, and I thought something that just sets my project and my ministry apart from what other people are doing, because I want to be hands-on. I know there's a safety issue when you do blow up and you get bigger and all that, but, you got to use wisdom. But I want to always be hands-on with the people and not be far off, because that's what Jesus did. He was amongst the crowds. He was with the people. He was in the bars with the prostitutes, with the tax collectors. That's what I'm looking to do. I mean, I don't want to be preaching to the choir. I want to go out and sing in a club one night, but, hey, if the church calls me, I'll be there the next night too, So that's my heart.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so brave of you to share your walk, because a lot of people, regardless what's going on, they go through, maybe difficult family times, or, maybe they don't have a mother that's acting as loving as they would like, or they're dealing with abuse or what have you, and to know that they have a role model that they can look at and go, gosh, look at her. Mari's got it all together. She's doing, she's following her dreams, singing these songs. It could be possible for me too.
Well, that's the funny part about it. And, I'm literally, I say it all the time, I'm the poster child for she can make it, anyone can. I may seem like I have it together now, but honestly, I was a big mess. And we're always going to be going through a process. We're always going to be growing. There's always going to be obstacles and struggles. It's just not allowing that to keep us where we are and moving forward. That's the hardest part. For example, I could have been like my biological mother and taken on those traits and been hateful towards my child today, but I decided to not be that just because I came from that. So it's a choice every day to start fresh and to live your life the way that you want to live it, to achieve your dreams and to move forward. It's still hard even this day, but I want to encourage people that, we're going through this together. We can do this together, and if my story helps them, I'd rather be honest and open about abuse, open about financial issues, open about health issues and all that, because hiding it isn't going to help anyone anyway. And I always told God that if He gave me a platform, that I would be an open book to show people my flaws, so that it could help them see that just because you're in the limelight doesn't mean you're perfect.
Well, and it really helps people who are, going through difficult times also to realize that, they don't have to repeat these generational. It's interesting. A lot of times when parents act a certain way, it's because that's how their parents have taught them, and on and on and on and on. It's just a string of bad behavior. So it takes a lot of courage for someone to say, hey, I'm breaking this and moving forward in a different way,
Yeah, and it can be done, because there was times where I started to see, hey, I'm getting really angry about a certain situation, and I was like, no, I'm not going to be like that. That's how my biological mother was. I'm not going to head towards those tendencies. So catching it also in the moment is very important to be able to break those things, because it is there. And so it's the choice of breaking it, but then also when you start to get in it, not falling all the way into that trap and just moving forward anyway,
Yeah, you're not stuck there. So, and kind of to pivot back to your music, so when you went ahead and got the new EP together, I know you were talking about a little bit like, hey, we hurry up and we did it. About how long did it take for you to create Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas?
We literally did everything, I think, in about 3 months, and if that, it could be like 2 to 2.5 months. And that was from, getting the arrangements ready, getting the production, the vocals, the mixing, mastering. We went in and we went hardcore, and between myself and the production team, honestly, they gave it their all, and we got everything done quite rapidly.
That is just amazing. Sometimes it seems like that's all moving on angel wings just to make it happen, because that's pretty quick to get an EP done.
Oh, no, it is. And it was actually a lot of pressure. There were moments where I was throwing my wig across the room. I was just so flustered.
Well, hey, you've got some beautiful wigs. Don't throw those across the room now.
Yeah, there's plenty where those came from.
Yeah, so, and what kind of thoughts do you want to leave our listeners with? Gosh, we're in the holiday season, and you're such an inspiration, not just in your music, but also in your life. So what thoughts would you like to leave our listeners with?
Wow. Well, my favorite Christmas story is Jesus being born. If I can encourage anyone anything, I wrote this in an interview earlier today, and it really, sometimes you're trying to inspire other people, but you inspire yourself at that moment. But this is what I want to share. I want to share that Christmas is the most beautiful story because Jesus came into this world and he was born. There was no space for him at the end. There was not a place for him, and he became the savior of the world. Sometimes there's people out there, and you may be listening, and you may feel like there's no place for you, that you don't belong, you don't have a calling. But if Jesus became the savior and there was no space for him, he was Christ. He was born on Christmas. That's why we celebrate. We're celebrating today because he set that pace for you and for me. There was no space for me when I was born. There was no place for me. It looked hopeless. My situation looked hopeless. But now look at where I am today in life, and I know it's by the grace of God. So you may feel like there's no place for you, but you are going to be great, and celebrate this Christmas knowing that it's going to be different this year, that there is a special place for you. You have a calling. You have a purpose in this life, and that's the true meaning of Christmas.
Is that kind of what brought you through all those difficult times, was your faith?
Absolutely. Holding on to the promises of God. I wouldn't be here if I didn't see it, if I didn't feel it. And sometimes we need to know that's why there's characters in the Bible such as doubting Thomas, because I literally doubted. I was like, okay, God, you said to try me, and hey, Thomas doubted too, then show me. Why not ask him? We try the lottery, we try all these other things. Why don't we try God,
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think a lot of times when people get into the point where life is really tough and then there's despair, it's easy to feel like, gosh, I'm not really, it's not going to work out for me, and I'm not really feeling that faith.
Yeah, and that's a hard place to be, and I'm not going to lie, the struggle is real. # the struggle is real, and it's going to be hard every day.
Yeah, for sure. They even made a hashtag for it, so.
Yes, exactly. But knowing that you have a God that you can call upon and he's going to answer, I'm living proof. And literally, if anyone ever wants to call in, write to me, message me, speak to me, and ask me more, I will always be there, because literally I was dying in a hospital bed 1.5 years ago thinking, man, you promised me, God, I'm going to go all over the world. People are going to hear my music. You told me since I was a little girl, you've kept your promise. Don't break it now. And sometimes we have to be reminded of the promises that he told us. And they're there. We just have to be reminded of it.
Do you think when that happens, it's just us being called to have greater faith?
I absolutely think so. I think it's just stretching us. It's kind of like we give up at the last moment. It's kind of like you don't let go of the rope, because it's that last moment. I think he's just waiting there. He has every right. If you're going to give someone the keys to your car, you want to make sure they have a license. You want to make sure they have insurance, something, because you just want to make sure they're going to take care of it and not crash it or have problems, right? So I feel like if he's going to give us the keys to the kingdom, he has every right to test us and to try us.
Yeah, to see what's going on. And so because you've gone through some really difficult times, it seems like your music was probably one of the things that kind of kept you going and kept you on your path?
Yes, absolutely. Every lyric, every song, and that's why you'll hear a lot of anthems, even whether they're ballads or they're power dance songs, they will always be an anthem and it will always have a story behind it. Whether it sounds simple or not, there's a deep, profound meaning, like keeping me alive. Because like I said, when I was in that hospital bed, I didn't feel alive. And sometimes you're not going to feel like it. Sometimes you're not going to see it, but you need to just know whatever it is that keeps you. Music is what keeps me. If it's fashion for someone else, if it's baking for someone else, whatever it is that passion is, have that be your motivation to keep you moving, but use that, That's why we have these tools. That's why we have these gifts. That's why we have certain people around us to be able to help us move forward in our journey and our walk in life.
Well, and it seems that you're also giving back with your music. And that seems to be another thing that we're called to do is when we are, walking a spiritual path, that we're not just receiving blessings, but we're also giving back.
Exactly. I mean, it's always easy to receive. The hardest part is to give, especially when you feel like you're receiving, but it's still not enough. That's when the real test comes. So I'm always for giving only because I've seen the blessing of giving, because if you really want to receive, you need to give. And so I will always continue to give because I'm just thankful that I woke up this morning. I'm thankful to even be able to share my story with you and to everyone listening right now. I mean, just having a heart of gratitude, I think that's a gift in itself.
Oh. Well, you're such an inspiration, Mari, and I so appreciate you taking the time to be with us and to share your life with us and your, the kind of what's behind your new EP. Where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community?
Oh, please. I would love that. I love meeting you all. So you can find me at www.mariburrell.com. That's MARI, B as in boy, URELLE.com. Or you can find me on social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, at Mari Burrell.
Oh, Mari, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much. Que Dios la bendiga.
Well, thank you, and thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in on this Christmas Day. I hope you and your family have a very safe and happy Christmas. We're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for sharing this time with us. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.